House here in downtown Hicksville, Ohio. On this Wednesday evening, I'm Bill Murphy with Hicksville Community Television. We're here tonight because a special community event is being held here at the Huber this evening. This is going to be a public referendum, an open meeting allowing people to voice their opinions concerning whether or not the Village of Hicksville should consider allowing the retail sale of medical and recreational marijuana within the village. This is a big question that has been being brought up a few times recently at the village council meetings, and council decided that the best way to begin to move forward with making a decision of this importance is to get as much feedback as possible from members of the public. So here at the Huber tonight, Mayor Mike Barth is going to be the host for this forum event, and it will give people the opportunity to speak out on whichever side of the issue they stand upon. We do want to say a big thank you to the underwriters that are making our live coverage possible here on the HIX-TV YouTube channel this evening. They include our gold level underwriting supporter Mink Solar of Defiance and Paulding County. Mink Solar operating and doing the big solar project that will stretch from the south of Hicksville to the north of Antwerp. If you'd like to find out more about that project, about green energy, solar energy, about Mink Solar, or anything else along those lines, check them out online. It's www.minksolar.com. Again, that is www.minksolar.com. I want to thank them so very much as a gold level underwriting supporter. They underwrite all of our non-sport programming here on Hicksville Community Television. We also want to say thank you to a couple of our silver level underwriting supporters that join us for select programming. And this is an important community event, so they are providing their underwriting support as well. Our friends at the Hicksville Bank, located right in the heart of downtown Hicksville, Ohio, branches across Northwest Ohio and Northeast Indiana. And you can find them online and find out all the information you want to know about the many banking services they have for you and your family, as well as their hours of operation for the main branch and all of their other branches around across the region. It's www.thb.bank. So a big thank you again to the Hicksville Bank, member FDIC, with their main branch located just literally across the street here in downtown Hicksville, Ohio. Thanks also to Bruce Guilford Real Estate and Auctioneering Incorporated Associates. They are also a silver level supporter with underwriting of various events throughout the year. We want to thank them so very much. And again, if you would like the latest information on real estate listings, if you have any questions regarding real estate, whether it be private, residential, commercial, agricultural, they have the information for you. They have the knowledge to be able to help you out. And you can also check out the latest auction calendar by going to their website, which is www.guilford-realestate.com. Again, that's www.guilford-realestate.com. I want to thank both Bruce Guilford Real Estate and Auctioneering, the Hicksville Bank, and of course Mink Solar for underwriting our live coverage this evening. Now, the way the forum is going to work this evening, I think there's going to be some opening remarks. Again, Mayor Mike Barth is here, and I think he is going to be the overall moderator. Councilman Ron Beverly is also here this evening. They're going to allow people, again, the opportunity to speak pro or con regarding this cannabis issue, the marijuana sales issue. I believe there's going to be a limit of 4 minutes per speaker. And they will be moving through the audience behind me with a handheld microphone, so the people will be standing up. So from our position, we will be sort of following along and bringing you the comments made on both sides of this issue. And again, everyone here has been informed that we know that this is an important topic, and it is one that has raised some high emotions and some very strong opinions, and everyone here has been admonished to be respectful of other people and other people's opinions, and to again remember that this is being shown live on YouTube, and this is again a public forum and again part of the public record. So with that, I'm going to step aside. They should be getting started very soon. A big thank you to the Huber Opera House here in downtown Hicksville, the community center. They are providing us with the space. They've also provided us us with an excellent position to set up our broadcast equipment, and they've helped us out in making sure that we've been able to get the live stream on and for you to be able to watch along if you are not able to be here in person this evening. So with that, I'm going to step aside. We're going to switch over the audio to the big microphone to be able to get what's going on out in the crowd, and we will get ready for the public forum on whether or not to allow recreational and medicinal marijuana sales in the Village of Hicksville to get underway very shortly. So again, thanks so much for joining us this evening, and again, we appreciate you being with us to stay informed. Thanks again to our underwriters, and again, this public forum from the Huber Live will be getting underway shortly right here on the HIX-TV YouTube channel.
First of all, my name is Mayor Mike Barth. I've been mayor since January, been on city council for a while, but I want to thank everyone who's here tonight. I want to thank some of the public officials that are here this evening. I want to thank the Huber for allowing us to have this event. Can you hear me? Is my mic on? Do I need it on? I don't see no switch.
There's a button on it.
A button? Let me put my glasses on.
It is here.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Come on now. Hello?
Gotta hold it on.
Hello? Can you hear me now? There we go. I'm sorry. My fault. Mayor Mike Barth. Again, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. All the officials that are here. I want to thank the Huber for allowing us to use this facility. The goal of this public forum is to allow residents to voice their opinion, but to allow the cannabis to be sold in the village limits. Some of you may have some opinions one way or another. I ask that we respect and follow residents and respect fellow residents and their opinions. So please don't use any profanity or unprofessional behavior during this forum. The goal is to give everyone time to state their views. We will allow residents up to 4 minutes to speak, and so that we may give enough time to everyone who would like to speak tonight. You can speak more than once if you want. If you hear something you want to talk about, you can do that, of course. But at this time, again, thank you for being here. I'm going to ask Pastor Steve Ayers with Lifeline Connect Church to do a quick prayer. So if you would, Pastor Steve, and I'll have a few minutes.
I'm going to carry this one. Let's pray. Lord, I thank you for today. I thank you that we can come together as fellow residents of Hicksville to further our village, further our cause to make it a place that's safe and good for families. Lord, we just thank you for your love and your grace. We thank you for your forgiveness. We thank you for dying on the cross for each and every one of us. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve. Like I said, public forum, we just want your opinions, your views. I have Councilman Ron Beverly. We'll carry the microphone around, so if you would like to use it, please do so. If you want to stand up and state your name, that would be great. So we will open it up now. I'm going to offer whoever wants to go first. Raise your hand and we'll bring you the microphone. So many hands come up. Are you sure?
Steve, do you want to speak first? Want me to go first? I sure will. I don't know, I got a couple notes so I don't go off track too much. Can I carry this room? Can you hear me back there, Ken? Okay. Again, my name is Pastor Steve Ayers. I serve here at Lifeline Connect, just on the edge of town there on 18. I've been here for over 10 years now. I just have a few stats from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.gov. And it's just some bullet points here. It says marijuana can cause permanent IQ loss of as much as 8 points when people start using it at a young age. These IQ points do not come back even after quitting marijuana. Studies linked to marijuana use are linked to depression, anxiety, suicide planning, and psychotic episodes. Research shows that marijuana affects timing, movement, and coordination. People who are driving under the influence of marijuana can experience dangerous effects. Of course, slower reaction times, lane weaving, decreased coordination, difficulty reacting to signals and sounds on the road. There are real risks for people who use marijuana, especially young adults and women who are pregnant. Today's marijuana is stronger than ever before. People can and do become addicted to marijuana. This is found in Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.org. Also found in the Cannabis Legalization Law Summary from the state of Ohio, says employers can keep their zero tolerance with marijuana use in the workplace. You understand that if you get caught with marijuana in most workplaces, you're automatically fired, right? Let's be clear. Marijuana is a drug. It's widely understood as a gateway drug to many other ones, such as cocaine, meth, and just to name a few. These drugs, this marijuana is not the same drug in the 70s and 80s. It's much more powerful and potent than ever before. Marijuana has been hurting and destroying families and communities for years and will continue to do so. The Village Council has an opportunity to create an ordinance not allowing medical marijuana to be sold in the village limits. Just a few years ago, the Village Council passed an ordinance not to allow medical marijuana to be sold in the village. I hope and I pray that they continue down this smart track for protecting our families and our village. To my knowledge, Montpelier, Bryan, Edgerton have all written ordinances not allowing marijuana to be sold inside the city limits. I understand marijuana is legal in the state of Ohio, but council has an opportunity and responsibility to protect our children, our families, our schools, and our businesses from the consequences of this drug. Will an ordinance stop marijuana in our community? No, of course not. But to do nothing, not to have some kind of barrier, not to take the opportunity, would be a bigger mistake. Council, you've seen the wisdom just a few years ago about medical marijuana. Now continue down that right path of no sales for marijuana in the village, for the sake of our families, for the sake of our children, for the sake of our businesses, for the sake of our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody else? Pros, cons, listen to anything you want to say? Almost.
No, it's Barrett. I'm Julie Bass, and I seriously feel that the benefits of it outweighs a lot of the others. And I get that they use it as they're worried about marijuana in the workplace or going to work. It's no different in my eyes of drinking, which you're not telling me this town doesn't have enough of that. They used to have a bar in every corner. On their work time, on your lunch breaks, before they go into work. Now, I understand if you get off work, you want to go have a few drinks, you get that. But then if you drive, it's the same as if you're going to sit there and have a few hits off of a joint. One drug or the other. Yes, you go to work on it, yeah, you deserve to be fired. You want to get behind a vehicle, you need to pay the consequences. Because yes, there are consequences. But it's the same as it's the same as alcohol. And they talk about the drugs that they put in their bodies. I personally have MS, and I will honestly tell you, yeah, I like to smoke pot. Very seldom. But I don't take where I get so stupid that I cannot do anything, and I do it in my own home. But it helps relieve my legs from jumping, from me shaking, and it helps with my memory. I have several family members that are dealing with cancer, and it helps with their appetites, with their nausea. It helps with my nausea. And I understand if you don't want to say, okay, for recreational, but for the anxiety, the sleeping wise, I know several, even elderly people, that do the edibles to help maintain that. The overall health health-wise it does for your body outweighs someone that, no, because the chance of someone drinking or smoking and driving or smoking going to work. It's no different in my eyes than the drinking. You have more of a problem of alcohol, and they say it's a gateway, and I get the pros and cons on that, but if you go out and these kids, young kids, older people, go out and get stupid on drunk, hey, look, you want to do a line of coke? You want to have a hit of this? You want to do drops of acid? When you're not thinking right, then yeah. But it's going to happen with alcohol or any other drug. You go to the doctor, you get hurt. They want to put you on man-made medicines of opiates and get you hooked that way. I would rather do something that is more natural than taking that medicine that also now you gotta go on blood test because you gotta make sure it's not destroying your liver. And I get that, but that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anybody else? Please feel free to jump up, say what you're thinking.
What?
And you're just fine over here.
Plus the revenue that this town could use, I think, would help us out a lot.
Yes, sir.
My name's Michael Griffey.
Would you like the microphone?
They don't matter.
Please use the microphone, sir.
Can you use the mic?
Sir, please use the microphone, thank you.
I get the microphone now. She's right, it's your choice. But I'd ask you one thing. Go to an area that has this for sale and just sit there for 30 minutes. It's an eye-opener. You'll be blown away at the people that's buying it. And they're not buying it just for the medical reason. That's the sad thing. If it was to help, that's good. But they're not buying it. We're just giving them the right, okay, you get a card, you go buy it. We're opening it up to everybody. I mean, they hardly ever stop anybody from getting that card. I've got a back problem. I just had a spinal stimulator put in. And I had a choice. I could got a card. It'll work. Guess what? I take a lot of other stuff that works just as good, and I can get it at the pharmacy, or I can get it at Walgreens. It's up to you guys. I like this little town of Hicksville. I like to see the kids playing on the streets. They're selling lemonade on the corners and don't have to worry about them. At night, you see families walking up and down Main Street with their kids and their dogs. You willing to trade all of that? It's up to you. And yes, I have family that died with cancer that was on it, that used it. You know what? Did it help them? They don't know till they were stoned. And that's God's honest truth. It's your choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who would like to voice your opinion? Yes, Deb. Microphone, hang on. It's on. Just start talking.
Hi everybody, my name is Joe Pask, and I'm an alcoholic and drug addict. And my first experience with drugs was 50 years ago, sitting on a bonfire, sipping Boone's Farm, Ripley, and passing a joint around. So if you want to point out that pot is a gateway drug, well then so is alcohol, so is wine, so is any kind of liquor. It's easily, you get your inhibitions lower, oh here, just try this. It's gonna happen, folks. It's up to the people's choice, like he said. It's just gotta be monitored.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
My name is Brock Johnson. I'm 16, and throughout my school career, career, I have seen many people in my class and around my age get involved with drug use. And it ends up affecting their grades adversely, their behavior, and by increasing the availability for it, it's just going to make that worse.
Thank you, young man. Anybody else? Yes, young lady.
Chief's gotta go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Hannah Rogers. First off, anybody that wants to smoke it's going to get it one way or another. And there's people all around town that I'm sure will hook somebody up. What? With me though, I have ulcerative colitis, pretty bad. And with that comes a lot of cramping, a lot of restroom use, and appetite loss. I do use marijuana on a daily. Not because I want to, but because it helps me more than any medicine that I've tried. It helps with my appetite, it helps with the pain. So, I mean, yeah, it's up to the town that, you know, if they want to do this or not. I honestly think that we should.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hey, Denny. All right, can everybody hear me? I'm Mark Denny. I'm the chief of Hicksville. I've been here 5 years. I can probably speak on most behalf of law enforcement. We are against this measure for this drug to be sold legally or making it or legalizing it in the state of Ohio. My main concern about bringing it to the Village of Hicksville to sell is what it's going to bring to our community. Okay, we sit 2-3 miles from the state of Indiana. I'm worried about the E because it's illegal in the state of Indiana. I'm worried about what's going to be coming across our line into our village. The traffic will be increasing. I worry about the bad people that use drugs every day. That will bring them to our community, all right? And they get to see the view of Hicksville. And I'm afraid it's going to attract more of those coming to the Village of Hicksville. 2 years ago, we had an armed robbery at the Shell station. They both were from Fort Wayne, and one of them had ties to a gang. I'm afraid that is the kind of individuals that we will see coming into this community on a daily basis. I know the revenue. You know, they talk about the revenue that it'll bring to the village. Yes, that's all good, but the safety matters more than money. The levels that we are seeing in marijuana, the THC is much stronger than it was back in the 70s. The thing that we are seeing is fentanyl being laced in the marijuana. So I worry about things like that. I worry about illegal sales coming out of these shops, not just the marijuana, the attraction of other drugs being sold out their back doors or inside their businesses. Like I said, I'm more concerned about the safety of this community, and I think it's just going to bring more crime to our area, more traffic, and that's my stand on this. Any questions?
Isn't there a way to make it where you have to have an Ohio ID in order to purchase it?
Well, that's up to the state of Ohio, and they have not done anything like that. So the problem with this bill and the law is they didn't go through and talk to probably law enforcement officials what they should do, what should they have in place if you want to make it legal. There are still some variances, whether where you can smoke it at in public places or private property. It's very vague. It doesn't spell it clearly out. I think they should have done some more homework with it. I know the side of the medical marijuana guy, you do have to have a card. And it has to be anything with medical, has to be kept in that container that it's sold in. Which Ohio is vapes and edibles. Michigan has the weed portion of it, which a lot of people go to Michigan and buy it up there. Ohio, the one thing with Ohio is the advertising. They are not going to allow the billboards to be put up like you see in Michigan. But that state legislators would have to come up with the idea of the ID, having an Ohio ID only, making it Ohio residents only. And there's nothing that I've seen in this statute that's Ohio residents only.
You said about bringing the crime and the stuff, the bad people to here, but yet alcohol, for how many years when Sailors was here, Indiana couldn't have alcohol on Sundays, and we were bombarded, and that was okay for the sale of alcohol in the village, and having all those people come and go. Yes, you said about the robbery there at the Shell and gang related out of Fort Wayne. You don't think they don't come here now? And so many people I know have sit there and watch them, especially at the laundromat. Their little shady deals. It's gonna happen. Yes, it's gonna probably be a little more patrol work, but it's happening now, even though it's not even here. So the revenue, back to the revenue again, if we already have it happening and going on, I think if it's going to go on, there's, okay, put some stipulations, put some whatever. Yes, you have to have your card, and then that's it. Because I know when they give you that card and the doctor gives you, okay, you're allowed this much, I'm telling you right now, what they allow you, I couldn't smoke in a lifetime. I just couldn't. And that's for 1 month. So there again, you have to pick and choose whether or not you want to take the edge off your anxiety, take away your pain, help with your eating, or you want to overindulge. They're going to overindulge. It's not because, okay, I can do it. No, it's just because they want to do it. That's with anything. But there again, we allowed the alcohol on Sundays. They was coming from everywhere out to Sailors to get it on Sundays.
The drug use back when that was during that time, you didn't see the drugs of heroin, you didn't see the drugs of methamphetamine.
Yeah.
Okay. These people are on these types of drugs. Okay. Right now, our community is safe. I would like to say that we have, we can deal with thefts, domestics. I'll take that any day. But what I'm afraid is going to bring these people and they're going to see what this community looks like. All right. And it's going to bring them, they're going to be coming through here, and if they're high, all right, you're going to take the risk of them driving high, hitting one of our citizens of the community, or they decide they want to pull a robbery. They're going to see our village more. It's going to bring more traffic in. I'd rather keep what we've got coming in right now, all right, and then taking the risk of the chance of bringing more people in.
You have a question back here. Okay. You had a question?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you said something that there could be fentanyl in the marijuana. Wouldn't the state be controlling this? I mean, I imagine, I would have to guess that the state would have extreme controls on any recreational dispensary.
Yeah. From my understanding, the mayor's meeting I went to, it is controlled. Whatever's selling through these.
Yeah, so
distributors,
I don't think we'd have
they
to worry
are-
about fentanyl and what you buy in a dispensary. Is that correct?
From what my understanding was.
Yeah, because the
Through the
controls would be
dispensary.
so stringent.
Right, they will control that, but
Yeah.
the drug dealers, they're buying it, then lacing it with fentanyl.
Yeah, but not when you buy it from the dispensary.
Yes,
am I
they are.
correct?
That's exactly what they will do.
So they're going inside the dispensary and they're lacing the controlled product with fentanyl when the shop owners are there?
They will buy the weed itself, walk out of your dispensary, take it back. They will take their fentanyl, they will crush it up, and they will lace it and sell it.
To people in Fort Wayne.
People here in the community, period.
Well, why would they have to do that, buy it from somebody else if there's a dispensary? Then they can go right to the dispensary and know it's controlled. I'm just a little bit confused by your statement.
Sure, am I not correct about listing?
I'll talk.
Yeah.
And from what I've read, the statute, the issue that passed in last November, is for personal use on private property. So we're not going to have people walking up and down the street smoking a joint. Is that correct?
We've got it now, we've seen it.
Yeah, but you know, it's going to happen anyway. And I was doing some research from the financial aspect. Michigan, 30% of the tax revenue goes back to the villages, towns, cities that have dispensaries, and they get little over $59,000 per dispensary. And I'm assuming, I haven't been able to locate any data. I'm assuming Ohio's going to mirror what Michigan is doing. But I haven't been able to get any more information online. I contacted Delaware Letter asking, even though he's federal, asking him for advice. His office hasn't gotten back with me. I've contacted the Attorney General, and they haven't gotten back with me, probably because they don't know. But some of the statistics, the revenue in this town is needed. I'm constantly hearing, we don't have money, we don't have money. The Nosy Neighbor Facebook page went ballistic when they tore out the pool. Because we don't have money to put a new pool in. And Michigan gets, the host communities get 30%. They take 30% of the total tax revenue, and then they divide that per dispensary, per community. So if you have one dispensary in your community, you get your governing body gets a little over $59,000. If you have 4, you take that times 4. And just some statistics here. Does everybody know where Camden, Michigan is?
Yep.
Okay, Camden, Michigan has a population of 516 people as of the 2022, not the census, but at that time. They have 4 dispensaries. In February of this year, for fiscal year 2023, Camden received received $236,345.40 of their share of the revenue. Wouldn't that be better than raising the taxes, our local income tax, or the local school tax? I mean, some of these communities, Reading has 1,085 people as of 2023. They have 3 dispensaries, so they get $177,259.05, which they received in February of this year. And that was for 1 fiscal year. I mean, if people want their taxes raised, if they want the school tax raised, but it is a business. You can buy alcohol in this town at the restaurants, the bars, and every gas station. You can buy beer at every single gas station. And is that because it's accepted? That's how it's always been. This is something new. I think we have to think of our financial responsibility. And kids are not going to be able to go in there. And I mean, it's 21. You have to be 21 to even enter a dispensary. And they ask for your ID. But the statistics are phenomenal. What could this town do?
Well, we appreciate your comments. You know, we talked about that stuff within certain groups.
Yeah, but maybe not everybody else knew it. So. But our tax rate, Ohio's tax rate is 36, not 30%.
I want to give some other people some time to talk. I appreciate your comments.
My name is Jennifer Carrier. I'm not a proponent of it, but I do understand that it is legal and the financial is very tempting. I would like to say to council, I would like to see, although I don't want it, if they do approve it, I would like to see a limit on the number of dispensaries. I've been to Camden, I've been to other Michigan towns, and they come in and they buy out every business that's there, and they turn it into a dispensary town, and that's all it is. And I don't want to see that in Hicksville. I know there are current rules about how many and the feet that there are, but we changed those laws. So I would like to see council be proactive, and if we're going to allow it, to limit the number of dispensaries in town and just put a stop to it up front.
I agree.
I'm Janice Mahan, and those are wonderful statistics that you've given. I would like to see the statistics of the flip side of how much increase in the back part of it. The money that we could get as a revenue, would the police force have to be bumped up because there's extra people trafficking? I would just like to see the flip side, the statistics part of it, you know, if there is other people coming in. Yeah.
Okay, now, here's my opinion. I think something as serious as this, I'm kind of for it, because I know it's a money maker, because my wife came from the Camden Reading area, all her relations live up there, they speak well of that. But I don't think 6 people sitting around that horseshoe table up there should make a decision. If we're going to do it, put it on the ballot. Okay, that's all I got. Yep. Nope.
Well, good evening, folks. I'm your state representative. Glad to be here. Maybe not for this instance. I'd rather be eating pie next door. I'm going to try to be totally objective and talk of it as what was passed and led by the ballot box, what the governor's office presented, what the Senate has proposed as far as changes, what the House has proposed as far as changes, and where we're at. Internally, first of all, I'm not an attorney, and this stuff is written by attorneys, so it's sometimes it's just like put it in English so everyone can understand what it is, but that's a whole other subject. So initially, we asked our Legislative Service Commission, I want you to compare what was passed at the ballot box, what was proposed by the governor, what was proposed by the Senate, and where the House is at. That comparison was 65 pages, and I thought I'm not going to go through 65 pages of information. We'd be here too long, but I condensed it to 6 pages, and I'm just going to try and hit the highlights. I will take questions. I will tell you I'm not an authority, and I will try to just present what's out there at the moment. And then I will tell you what complaints or concern comes to our office and how we will try to address that. Once this was passed back at the ballot box, we have a new agency now. It's called the Department of Cannabis Control. I believe that is the 324th agency in the state of Ohio. Bureaucracy is alive and well. Homegrown, that's one of the real popular issues. The way the current statute's written, one adult can have 6 plants or up to 12 per household. A experienced cultivator can get 2 to 3 crops per year. I've seen all kinds of numbers, how one good healthy plant, how many joints it will produce. It's a lot. You have to remember I have a sense of humor. And has anyone in here grown zucchini? You know, one plant and you have so many zucchini you don't know what to do with. And I had a fellow tell me the only time he locks his car at church is during zucchini season, because he doesn't want zucchini put in his car. My point is, somebody that is growing the maximum number of plants and doing a good job, and I believe it was you, it'll produce more marijuana than one person or 2 people could smoke in many years. What do they do with the extra? That presents a problem. You have to be over 21 to consume it. If you read what's in the statute, and I think this is interesting because those of us that have raised kids or been a kid ourselves, when we got caught as underage drinking, there was a penalty, but I doubt whether anyone in here suffered any serious consequences for underage drinking. Underage pot smoking, you need to read it, folks. It's serious consequences. Fines from $250 to $1,000, up to 6 months in jail. It goes up by each offense. A concern for our young people. There's some serious consequences to those that partake underage. There's cultivator licenses. There are so many different licenses with this whole process. There's cultivator licenses. There's 3 different groups. It depends how many square feet your greenhouse is or where you're growing it. There's 3 levels. It's regulated. Then you have processor licenses. That's the people that take it from the growers and start processing it. Here's an interesting tidbit that I have not heard anybody talk about. Whoever's employed at any of these dispensaries or markets, they're tracked electronically. They have to have training. Big Brother is watching over whoever is going to be working and selling and handling these products. There are dispensary licenses. There's lab licenses. There are license holder requirements. There's packaging and labeling requirements. The employment license, which I just mentioned, you got to be over 21 years of age. You have to have a Department of Cannabis approved form. You have to have 2 sets of applicants' fingerprints. You have to be photographed. There's a whole bunch of restrictions to even work in the industry. I don't quite understand the dispensary licenses, the licenses to grow. One person can hold up to 8 dispensary licenses, a cultivator license, and a processor license. There's prohibited facilities. This is something you want to know about for your community. Churches, public libraries, public playground, public park or school, it cannot be within 500 feet. That's one of the concerns that comes frequently into the office. If they're within 500 feet and they get denied their license, which they should, they can reapply and relocate. The way the current law is written and the way I understand it, you can't have 2 dispensaries within 500 feet of each other. So that still allows for a lot of dispensaries. I'm trying to hit the highlights of things that you'll be concerned about. All right, here. Oh, that's okay. If you can't hear something, just tell me to repeat it. So, local government authority, and I think this is an important one, and I'm going to try and read this because it's not that long. But it allows a municipal corporation, township to prohibit or limit the number of adult use cannabis operators permitted within the boundaries of the subdivision, subject to certain limitations. So that tells me if Hicksville decides we only want 1, or we want 2 because we believe there ought to be competition, or we want 14, that's up to the council. They can decide, or I presume you could put it on a ballot, I'm not sure, but you can limit that. A municipal corporation cannot limit or prohibit homegrown marijuana. A municipal corporation cannot limit or prohibit activity that is authorized by the Cannabis Control law. A municipal corporation cannot limit or prohibit licensed medical marijuana facilities from active production and operation unless there's an active revocation of that operator's license. Marijuana vendor's operation is dependent on majority of qualified voters' approval within that municipal or township. And if ordinance or resolution against adult use cannabis facility is passed, the facility has 60 days to cease operations. So you can, by the ballot box, eliminate a business that is established in town. There are so many things. Here's one you need to sort of understand. How are the taxes distributed? We heard that brought up. There is a 10% excise tax of the sale to consumers of adult use marijuana. Here's how it is currently distributed. 36% to the Department of Development's Cannabis, Social Equity, and Jobs program. I'm not getting into that. That's an interesting read. 36% to benefit municipal and townships that have the adult use dispensaries, and it's based on the percentage of tax attributable to each municipal corporation or township. So my understanding or math, for every $100 of sales, you would get 10% of that, or $10 in tax, and $3.60 of that would go to the local municipality. 25% to support the efforts of the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. 3% to support the operations for the new operations of the Division of Cannabis Control and to defray the cost of the administrative tax. There's no provision for a county tax, and there's no provision on the tax on illegal sales. That's to the best of my understanding, and so I can make that available. If somebody wants it, just let me know. One of the other things that I found extremely interesting in just talking to the sheriff, and part of this, in this bill or this statute, peace officers and troopers must complete 24 hours of continuing professional training each calendar year. What I don't know if that's in addition to what's already required, and if that has to be specifically related to cannabis issues. But my reading, once again, I'm not an attorney, that's additional. So you're taking your deputies, you're taking your law enforcement, that's sort of an unfunded mandate that was voted on by the ballot box, is they will require additional training. The complaints. Number one complaint is smell. I will tell you, those that are already partaking and smoking in public, if you believe in your issue, quit doing it. That's a weekly comment into the office is, this stuff smells terrible. Next thing that gets talked about is a tax distribution. Is it right or wrong? We could debate that the rest of the night. I will tell you, anytime there's new money, everybody wants it. It's just the way it is. One of the things that I do think is in the statute is about advertising. Anyone that has drove into Michigan and seen all the billboards wants nothing to do with that. My understanding is that is limited, but I can't get a clear answer on that. I haven't been able to have somebody that's way smarter than me tell me, but hopefully the advertising issue isn't like in Michigan. The next big concern, this will affect all of us, either directly if we're in business or indirectly if we buy insurance, is liability. The cost of liability insurance is going up. It will go up. Insurance companies don't have marble floors and lose money. Liability increases with this, and we're going to pay more for insurance. The next concern that comes into the office is anyone that is driving impaired now with alcohol, there's an instant test. It's not there yet that I'm aware of, and the sheriff can allude to this. My understanding, it stays in your system 30 days. So if you have an accident and you're a truck driver and you smoked it 28 days ago and the accident's your fault, hang on for a lawsuit. And the people that have people at risk, it's a real concern from the liability side. Our law enforcement and the sheriff, or Deputy Denny here, not Deputy, Chief, excuse me, we're putting our law enforcement in a really challenging position. That's one of the concerns coming into the office. I'm going to stop there. I'll take some questions. You can let the sheriff talk. He can take any question you want to throw at him. But this will change the dynamics moving forward. There's some serious decisions to make, but with that, if you have any questions, I'll try and answer them. Yes?
Everything that you just stated is across the board in Ohio, regardless of whether we allow the sale in our town. Is that correct?
That is correct. Your decision is for the political district of Hicksville.
So if there's additional training requirement as a proponent, are you in government working on creating funding sources for that to make sure that they can, and our town guys can meet that requirement? I see the win, so I'm assuming that it's been discussed somewhere and that we don't have a good answer.
I have not heard that discussion,
Oh, no.
that there will be any additional state funding to any police, sheriff, municipality, departments. This is my opinion. It's doubtful whether there will be additional money coming for that training.
I can tell you this, there has been discussion between, I believe, the Buckeye State Sheriff's Association and the Ohio Chiefs of Police that they have been looking at, can some of this tax revenue help pay for our training? All right, as far as I know, there still has not been any major decision made on that, okay? I do know that the state of Ohio is pushing every year. They're trying to push 40 hours of mandated CCT training, okay? We are at 24 hours every year. Right now, they're trying to figure out a way to even fund to push the 40 hours for every officer to keep their certificate. So they haven't even figured out a way to do that yet.
And my guess is when that topic comes up, they're going to say that political subdivisions getting 6% of the tax revenue, they will fund it.
Just to touch on that, is that all officers in Ohio, or is it just where the...
Every single police officer in the state of Ohio that has a certificate and is a peace officer is required 24 hours mandated CPT training every year.
So that's a problem no matter what. If we as a town decide we want a dispensary or we do not, that's still our problem.
That is still going to be a problem.
Okay.
It's just a matter of how the state is going to fund that. Right now, they're paying for that training. We go to the training, the state, I have to enter everybody into a computer system, and the state reimburses the village. Okay?
There's some nuances with that. Okay?
Yes.
So you understand, they only give us hour for hour base pay. So they don't pay for the backfill of time and a half for the officer to cover that officer's shift while they're away. So it doesn't even come close to what it's costing us locally.
Yes.
Okay, just so, and that's a whole other realm away from what we're here tonight to talk about. First of all, thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council, for inviting us to come in and give our aspects of this. Historically, you have to understand how we got here. Okay, 41 years ago, I started my career. I worked narcotics several times. I spent 16 years of my career as an undercover officer running a task force. So this is not something new. This has been going on for years. So how we got here is, first of all, we went to the medical marijuana. That was done by our state legislators. And the reason behind that is because of the monies that were being funneled in from California by a certain person in the group to get a constitutional amendment into the Ohio Constitution to change and legalize marijuana. So an agreement came out of legislation in order to stop the constitutional amendment. Basically, if you understand government, once it's on our Constitution, it's almost impossible to get rid of it, okay? Or alter it, or change it, or tweak it, okay? Because it would take another constitutional amendment to do that. So with that being said, we ended up with medical marijuana. We have dispensaries. We are in Region 1. Northwest Ohio is in Region 1. We are limited to the number of dispensaries we're allowed in our region. We currently have one in Defiance County. It is 12 miles from here. They have been licensed for medical marijuana only until last week. Now they've been licensed to do recreational marijuana. They have also applied for a producer
license, which I believe they're going to get. Okay, so meaning that I look for a huge grow operation in a controlled environment in Sherwood, Ohio. Okay? Now, as the sheriff, I'm against the marijuana thing. However, I have to embrace the law. Okay? I have to embrace the law. So the citizens, last year, the citizens voted in recreational marijuana. When they did that, then the state legislators set the guidelines for that, based on the law and what was in there. Okay, what was in creating law. So with that, as Representative stated, you're allowed, an individual is allowed 6 plants per household, maximum of 12 plants per household. Again, I've been in the business 41 years. I've watched some great marijuana plants grow. I bought marijuana plants, you know. I'm not going to say I helped grow it when I was working undercover, but I did. Okay, in some places until we arrested them. All right. So let me just give you from my experience. A marijuana plant is capable of producing 3 pounds of marijuana. A pound of marijuana is 453 cigarette type joints, we call it on the street, or fat boys, fat ones. Okay, 453 per pound. Okay, that's a lot of weed. That's 1,780 joints per one plant. Now you divide, you guys do the math, you all got cell phones, do the math. Take 1,780 and divide it by 365. Somebody in the crowd tell me how many joints that is a day.
Too many. Somewhere between 500 and 600.
500 and 600. Okay? So you would have to smoke 500 to 600 a day to get rid of that plant. That's a lot of weed. They're hot. Okay? Part of the issue that I'm seeing locally on all of this, okay, and you're right, you have the right to choose. Every citizen has the right to choose. Just now, Ohio is releasing the sale of recreational marijuana in these dispensaries. We've had the law in place for quite a while, but we haven't got the personnel, we don't have the plants in there to be sold. Now it's just coming out. Okay, so we're just going to start seeing the effects of the recreational marijuana. Okay, we're just going to see that. Now, I will tell you what we're seeing in the sheriff's office. 8 out of 10 vehicles we stop on the road have marijuana. 8 out of 10. 99% of our OVIs are drug related, namely marijuana. We're seeing OVIs are no longer midnight shift, 11 to 7 a.m. We are getting more OVIs arrests in the daytime. Frightens me as the sheriff because that's when our student population is going to school. We're seeing a ton of this. Most of it is drug induced, not just only marijuana, there's meth, there's heroin, you name it. It's all out here. But we're seeing an increase. The other statistic locally, I'm not talking statewide, nationwide, I'm talking Defiance County. We are seeing way too many overdoses in the juveniles. They're getting grandpa and grandmas, mom and dad's marijuana, medical grade, and they're overdosing. Our physicians are seeing it, our ERs are. We're responding to these calls. This week we had a 16-year-old that overdosed because she claims she didn't know the gummies in her dad's dresser drawers wasn't candy. Okay? That's what she claims. I didn't interview her, but I'm pretty sure that when they got done interviewing her, there was more to it. She knew what it was. She wanted to experiment. Kids are going to experiment. My concern, though, is we're having way too many overdoses of youth. And again, so you understand the law. Sometimes our laws and our rules, they fly. Marijuana is illegal federally, period. It's still on a scheduled drug. It is illegal federally. So law enforcement is required to enforce federal and state law. Now we got a problem. Because federally, you can't have any. Under the state of Ohio, under recreational, you're allowed 2.5 ounces. 2.5 ounces of marijuana on your person at any time, or in your possession. Anytime. That's a lot of weed. Is it not?
Yeah.
Okay? That's a lot of weed for one time. We are not going to, because we have recreational dispensaries and medical dispensaries, we're not going to take away the black market. Everybody says, oh, they'll take away the drug dealing and the black market from marijuana. No, it will not. This is the reason why. Because it's expensive to go to the dispensary. It's a minimum of $150 to walk in that door. And again, when you say go sit in these dispensaries, I go and visit the dispensary and talk to the owners and talk to the people that are working there. And I will tell you, they're out of where? New Jersey? Our local one? Okay? They're not in Ohio. The company is out of New Jersey. And again, so when you look at that, when you talk to them, I ask them what the average age of a person coming in there, and it's 55 to 70 to buy the medical marijuana. That's their average age. Now they said with the recreational, they think that's going to change. Now I truly believe that they will with recreational. Now you were comparing us to Michigan. Michigan is controlled in the medical is higher grade, so higher THC. The recreational is lower THC by law there. Ohio isn't. Okay? Is not. It's whatever you want to pay for. Okay? So there's different
Good information.
THC levels, but it's a cost factor. Okay? Whatever you want to pay. So again, a couple of nuances with that. Okay? So again, historically, we're having major problems. We have always had problems with marijuana. I can tell you from my career, it is a gateway drug. There's no question, if, ands, or buts about it. The other thing is, there's been millions and millions of studies. Yes, the marijuana will offset some of your issues of the moment. However, marijuana has never cured cancer. It's never cured anything. All it has done is allow the patient to endure whatever they're going through. It's not going to cure.
Will that work?
Okay? Art? No. Sorry, I'm on the phone. All right. So again, as far as my question to you as citizens is, how many dispensaries do we need in Defiance County? We have one. It's 12 miles down the road. Okay? Do we need another one in Hicksville? Defiance says no, because there's one in Sherwood. Does Hicksville need one? Just because it's convenient? These aren't Dollar General stores. They're not on every corner. Okay? Or should not be like they are in Michigan. Okay? I agree with the fact that they're limiting them. So, questions? Anybody got a question? Seriously. Again, that's things that I think your council is definitely going to have to take into consideration. Is 12 miles close enough for the headache? just so you have an idea, you mentioned that the Camden got 56,000 or something.
236,000.
236,000.
They got a
Thank you for correcting me.
yeah.
Now I will tell you, when it comes to governmental monies, a fire truck starts at $1 million and goes up. A police cruiser this next year is $75,000 per car. Okay? So when you talk about 200,000, what are you really going to put back in? And that doesn't even include tobaccos and everything else the city government has to deal with. The cost of maintaining or repairing or laying asphalt is astronomical. Okay? So it's not going to solve the taxation problem in Hicksville.
No, since I heard from the council when they had the meetings, we've lost the hospital tax base. We don't have money to do this. We don't have money to do that. This would at least ease some of our problems. And if you can expect this or something every year, it's basically, you don't have to do anything for it except let a business owner come in.
Okay, so $3.50 on every $10. Not a lot of money. $3.50 coming back to the local government is not a lot of money. Okay? I guess I would look at you promoting bringing in another factory, another business of that sort. Because not only do you get product taxation, you also get employee taxation, income tax. Where again, when you look at how many people is this functionality going to be, is probably 10 max. Okay, because they're limited in the hours that they can stay open. They can't run 24 hours a day. They can only sell for a certain time frame set by the commission.
Do you know those times?
I want to say it's 9 to 4. It's very limited. And that's set up, you don't hold me to that exact time. Please.
I hadn't even
Go into the
I mean, I'm not going to start a dispensary. I don't want to. I don't care who smokes, who doesn't.
Right.
I'm just looking that I hear when I watch the council news that we have an EMS that was in the shop more than it was running. We no longer have the tax base from the hospital.
Right.
I'm looking at it from this is a way to alleviate some of the financial stress.
Correct. And that's how it was sold to Ohio, to the citizens.
Right.
Is all these taxes are going to be so good, we'll rebuild, we'll build new schools, we'll do all of this. Not true. Not true. That's the only point I want to present to you.
Well, like I said,
Does the benefit outweigh the problem? Okay? And again,
I mean, we can't keep a grocery store in town.
How much increase of legal service do we need if you have the marijuana? How many more people are you going to have to put in on the boards to do the extra work?
Well, that's going to be a good question, because we haven't seen what it's going to bring to us yet. The stats for here, it's going to be a game that we're going to have to weigh our options and see what it does do. Obviously, it brings in more traffic to us. The increase in traffic accidents, I'm going to say I'm going to need to put on additional.
Can I ask a couple of general questions, but I'm not sure who exactly to pose to?
Can you get a microphone?
No, I know. Wait,
Oh, you don't want a microphone? They can't hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have a dispensary in Sherwood. I think that's fairly well known, right?
yes.
Guess who's on
Well, guess who's on their way to Sherwood from Indiana? Ohio purchase only, like someone brought up, and it might not be a bad idea. And if you're not aware, I have 4 some in Hicksville. I think it would be good for us, but there's got to be caveats. I want to hear more. I want to know if the council maybe has looked into doing comp studies on other local towns on criminal. There have got to be before and after studies. This isn't new. We're not recreating the wheel here. Other states have done this successfully. As far as I know, they're not, overridden by crime that's being reviewed constantly, right, by our leadership. So I'd like to know, is the council already looking at these different aspects? If we do it, these are the comparables that we have to our society, our town. What do we know?
I know, being at a District 2 meeting for Ohio Chiefs of Police, there are several towns in the northwest Ohio. They have taken action and created ordinances to go against this. So maybe because we don't know what the effects are going to be, and they don't want it.
Have we, as a village, been approached by anybody who wants to put a dispensary here?
As far as
or are we covering what is in?
We had some interest in it. The gentleman that was here at council.
But he was not
He's a local resident.
He's a local resident, but he wasn't wanting to put a dispensary in. He was there to give us the information about the tax revenue.
No, he's interested. He made this statement as he left.
I think he was, yeah.
What I'm more worried about is we place an ordinance and we put something on the table that is, again, going to take an uprising to take it back off. Should we actually believe it should be good? I really feel that the majority of Hicksville probably doesn't want it. I get that. Everybody has their own, but it's legal here. It's being used here and it has been for some time. I don't partake. But I know medically many friends and family that do. They're not driving on the road tide. So it's not an emotional push for me. It's practical, but I want to see, again, comprehensive studies, and I'd like to know that our council is looking at that, going apples to apples. Camden might be not quite apples to apples. It's much smaller. But again, one of the points where we're going to increase traffic. Well, we're going to increase traffic because they're going to go through Hicksville to get to Sherwood. Yeah. So again, I'd like to see that the council is doing some kind of studies, reviews on both sides. Here are the pros, here are the cons, and then come again and have a presentation on this is what we've got. Again, we're not debating an issue that Ohio voters have already passed. It's whether or not we wanted to allow a dispensary and to sell in Hicksville. And I don't think anybody, is rude or mean. I think everybody's coming with their own private viewpoints, and I think that's great. But I'd like, again, to see what kind of background that we're really putting into this, because I don't want it to be a knee-jerk reaction that we can't take back up. So if we propose to not do it now, don't put a full-on amendment to where we can never do that, if that makes sense.
Good point.
Thank you.
One other thing I want to point out is law enforcement funding. My funding comes from the county general fund, very limited. Okay, so I can't just tomorrow say, hey, I want to add 3 more because of this dispensary. The sheriff's office covers the village of Hicksville, the village of Sherwood. They do not have a law enforcement division. It is solely on our shoulders.
Right.
Okay? So again, I can't go to my commissioners and say, because you put a dispensary in, I need 4 or 5 more guys, because we can't fund it countywide. At least that's what they tell me. Okay? So again, it's the same way here.
Right.
Mark cannot put on police officers without more sustainable funding. So sustainable, are you under a police and fire levy?
No.
Okay.
So
So you're under the general fund, okay. So again, that may cause you, the more traffic that this brings in, okay, it may cause you to have more taxes, unfortunately. And nobody likes to hear that word. But then you as citizens have got to decide which do you want? Do you want both? Okay. But again, don't think that this dispensary is gonna offset that money, because it's not going to, just so you understand.
And again, that's why I think the comparison studies, we need
Correct.
data.
And if you want a little comparison, I would ask from a law enforcement standpoint, contact Colorado. Okay? They've been doing it for years. And you see what it's costing them for fire, rescue, medical, okay? Medical, meaning hospitals. You ask them what it's costing their health insurance providers, what it is costing the increase of your health insurance because of the cost of it. So look at Colorado and the statistics out there, look at the crime and the juvenile crime that has risen from out there. And does it generate revenue? Sure, but does it offset? No. And I will tell you, I've talked to several legislators, several sheriffs of Colorado at conferences, and they're all saying the citizens wish they had never done it because of the cost to them personally, out of the personal home income. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have a question on that. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but basically she's just asking for information.
Yes, and that's what I'm telling you.
The thing is I have respect for you as a sheriff. I have respect for all government officials. But for me, just to take your word on it, I should be talking to a pot dealer. It's the same difference.
Yes.
He's got statistics.
And that's what I'm telling you though, go to a state that's been established for years.
She just asked if you guys could help us with that. Why can't we be here with you guys telling us real statistics, not just what you experienced?
I believe I told you 8 out of 10 cars.
And she just said $250,000. I mean, yes, you're giving good information, but you're not giving it to us in a way that we can make a decent decision.
So I agree with that. Okay, I agree with your statement 100%. However, in this town hall meeting, let's say, and I'll be the first to admit, I didn't come prepared with stats and proof and all of this.
You should have.
I came with local stuff. And you have to understand, recreational marijuana is not being dispensed in Defiance County. I have no stats outside of the medical marijuana, and I gave those to you, 8 out of 10. Several juveniles, 16, 20 juveniles in the last year that have been treated for overdose that my agency has gone to. I don't know about Mark's, okay? But I will tell you, I'm seeing this increase, and it is concerning to me as the sheriff. So to walk in here and say nationally what has been the historical perspective, I can only go based upon what I'm being told by other sheriffs in Colorado, okay, for what I have personally seen traveling to Michigan and in the Camden area. And I'm proud of our legislators that we're not letting billboards up for these dispensaries because they just got ugly, And again, we don't need I have grandkids, I have 8 grandkids, and I don't need them seeing that this is okay. My concern is, if you're going to do it, fine, do it. As I said, protect the people around you. Protect the juveniles. Protect the kids and put stuff up, just like you do your pharmaceuticals.
People would see having a distillery as protecting our youth. Because it's regulated.
Yes, the dispensaries are, but the black market's not going to go away.
You are absolutely right.
Okay.
You can still sell tires on the black market.
Yes, yeah, you can sell anything.
That's just facts.
Thank you.
I think we've covered that. If Bill has something.
I just have one question. If marijuana
You say that.
Okay. My name is Bill Owen. I've been in Hicksville 50 years.
I spent 58 years in the fire service, and I've probably seen more automobile accidents on the state line than either one of these do. If medical marijuana is so good, medically, why can't they do the same thing they do with all the rest of these drugs and sell it through the drugstore? I know how close they are keeping track of that.
I don't think anybody here's got the answer for that, Billy.
It's because drugstores deal with the federal government with Medicaid and Medicare.
Yeah.
And if they sell marijuana, which is still technically illegal on the federal level, they would lose all of their compensation for the federally supported drugs.
Good point.
Okay, we're going to talk with Roy now, and we're kind of getting close to wrapping this up. So if you got any questions, when Roy's done, we need to hear from you.
I just want to go back to and add a little more information to the homegrown. Part of the law says growing plants may not be visible from a public space. So if you're walking down the sidewalk, road, you cannot see growing plants. And if you grow the plants outdoors, it has to be a secured and enclosed area, and that's the requirement. The local man unit was called on plants growing in a cornfield. That's still illegal. They went and confiscated it. So there are some stipulations. The more I read on this, the more I learn. Stay tuned. Great questions. I don't have all the answer. As a legislature, I will tell you, we have not changed anything from what was voted on. We can't agree down there. I'm serious. We have not changed anything. That's not necessarily a good thing. There's some things that could be tweaked that will make it better for law enforcement and make it better for the general populace. We've not done our job, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's the atmosphere at the moment down there. But thank you. I think you guys have all been very respectful. It is a tough decision, and there is tons of information out there. You just have to decipher what is legitimate and what is speculation. So thank you.
Thank you, Father Son, for coming over here and joining us tonight.
I got one more question up here.
Go ahead.
The sheriff was talking about an overdose. Was that referred to marijuana? Is that what he was talking about? Do you know?
Answer that.
I'm assuming that's what it involves. It was the gummies with the THC in the gummies. The thing that we are seeing is obviously the vapes with the THC. I just recently, in the last month, we had a 13-year-old, 12 or 13-year-old that was smoking a THC vape and probably could be considered an overdose, caused a medical issue. So we are seeing the THC vapes along, with the kids, which, produces the vape. Is a little bit more dangerous than the group, smoking or the actual weed.
All right, thank you.
Well, does anybody else have another statement or want to say anything? It's good, it's 7:30.
Bobby?
I've been working with kids in your community for about 10 years, teaching elementary school grade. The amount of adult issues these kids have talked about around me has increased greatly in the last few years. And I know I'm going to have a moment of shame. They will know about this. They will hear about this, what the community decided. And then as an adult, I know I'm going to have a moment of shame looking them in the face when it was about money, without knowing more about what could happen. And I know bringing the people coming over from Indiana, you already know that those are people that are willing to break the law, that you're asking into your community, because they're coming here because it's not legal there. But I just hope the community looks at what it could do to the kids before you impact it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. I want you to know that there's not going to be a decision made tonight as soon as you walk out those doors. We're not going to make a decision. We're a long ways from a decision. Go ahead, Chief.
I want to thank everybody for coming. I respect everybody's opinions. You know, what I gave you was my opinion. As the sheriff said, we still have to enforce laws, whether it's federal or state laws. You guys are entitled to your own opinion, and we respect that. And my agency, my officers will respect that also. So I really appreciate your input to this, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mayor, for putting this on. Mayor Barth, thank you for putting this on.
So with that, we're going to wrap up the forum on the proposal, the decision whether or not to allow cannabis sales in the village of Hicksville. And I want to again mirror the sentiments at the close. A big thank you to everyone who came here, spoke their mind on either side of the issue, and participated. Thanks to all the members of our state representative, the law enforcement and public safety officials, members of the village administration as well. Also thanks to the many who were participating in the chat while we were doing the live stream, raising a lot of points that some were raised later on. They raised them earlier in chat. They were raised later on in the open meeting. But we appreciate the participation there too, and especially we appreciate that all the participants tonight were polite, respectful, and that includes in our chat room as well. So thanks to that so very, very much. One more time, a big thank you real quickly to the 3 underwriters that have made this live stream coverage possible. Our gold level underwriting supporter, underwriting all of our non-sport programming on Hicksville Community Television, Mink Solar of Defiance and Paulding Counties, and online at www.minksolar.com. Our friends at our silver level underwriters, I should say, at the silver level, the Hicksville Bank, member FDIC, with their main branch in downtown Hicksville, other branches across the region, and you can find out more online at www.thb.bank. And thanks to Bruce Guilford Real Estate and Auctioneering Services. We want to thank them so very much for their silver level support as well. And you can find out more about their current listings and auction calendar by checking them out online at www.guilford-realestate.com. So with that, we're going to wrap things up from the Huber Opera House this evening. Again, thanks so much for joining us. And again, if you are a Hicksville resident and you have any concerns, feel free to reach out to any members of your elected officials. And again, do what you need to do to make your feelings known. So with that, again, thanks so much for joining us. And until we talk to you again next time, I'm Bill Murphy for Hicksville Community Television. We'll talk to you again soon, right here on HIX-TV.